Okay, Cynthia, let me tell you who's in the room, and then we'll give you the floor. Okay. We have Ebony Eccles. Say hi to Ebony. She is a new agent as of about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and she's rocking it. She's a great participant in our group, and she's no fear. So we also have, of course, Kathy Ray and Donna Patrick. Donna is, you know Donna, I'm sure. She's been with us for maybe 6 months or so, right? Maybe a little bit more than that. Is that about right? Okay. And Cynthia was kind enough to be our special guest today. And as I've mentioned, my plan is to bring in a top producer or a guest of some sort about once a week to kind of take the floor and to pour into you guys. And ideally, I'm picking these people because they're givers. They have a history of excelling. Oftentimes they either run a team or on the Agent Leadership Council or just have a really powerful message to share. And that certainly fits the bill with Cinthya. So I'll give a incredibly short introduction, and I'm going to give the floor over to you, Cinthya. We also just welcomed in Heather Mueller, who is a new agent, and Jan Singletary, who is a new agent as well.
And Brooke.
There is the famous
And Brooke.
So, and do we have Heather, do you have a guest?
It's Brooke. Martin.
Oh, I didn't even see. Hey,
she looks like a kid back there.
Hey.
Hey now. So Brooke Bartow is with us as well. Brooke is a new agent, been with us for maybe. Okay, perfect. Thank you guys for all tuning in.
Jan Singletary's been with us since March. And she's in her car. Jan Singletary.
Hi, everybody.
And Jan's in her car. She's driving over the Golden Gate Bridge.
She's in my downline, Cinthya, so she's one of my babies.
So pour into her real good now. Okay, Cinthya has been at our office for a handful of years, and she is on the Agent Leadership Council. For those of you who do not know, the Agent Leadership Council is essentially the office's board of directors. It is handpicked by the team leader. You qualify to be eligible by being one of the top 20% agents for production the previous year. And the committees of the Agent Leadership Council are growth, production, technology, and social/culture. And each of those committees are run by one of the ALC members, and you as an agent in the office, regardless of your experience, regardless of your production, have the opportunity to be involved in those committees and therefore have an influence on many of the decisions that are made just for our market center. So for those that have not been in the business for a whole lot of time, that is incredibly unusual for real estate brokerage. Real estate brokerage generally is making decisions top down without any influence from the people who are affected the most, the agents. And so it is an honor to be eligible for the ALC and certainly to be selected for the ALC. And many times I have, when I'm sending referrals to a different part of the country or something like that, I will ask the team leader that I'm speaking to, I said, I want somebody that's been on the ALC or that is currently on the ALC. And I want somebody that's been through Bold, graduated Bold, because that tells me something about the person. They've invested in themselves, right? They are seeking leadership roles, even when they're not compensated for it. So I want to just express my gratitude to Cinthya for serving in that role and for joining us today. And I have told everyone that you have a very unique story and that you are awesome at home buyer seminars. So beyond that, I'm going to let you take the floor, okay? Got to take you off mute, though.
Mute. Okay. Hey, okay. So you can hear me now, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so I'll just go like from the beginning. When I joined real estate, I really didn't know what I was getting into. My sponsor, Susan McGinnis, said, "Hey, I think your personality and everything, like what you do, I think you'll be great." And I'm like, sure. Like, I didn't think of myself as a salesperson or anything. I did think of myself as a people person and like educated and everything. So when I first joined, I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing. Like, like all of us, we start asking and we just don't even know where to begin. So I knew one thing that deep down for me, it was always like educating and helping people get to where they need to be, regardless of what I'm getting in the background. And with real estate, I'm like getting compensated for something that I love doing. I'm helping people, they're getting to their homes, and it's a great feeling. So I came across with this lender that work with my cousin, and he's been a great aid, and like he's starting the business recently too. And so he's like, "Hey, I wish we can partner up, do some things." And I said, "Well, listen, I've had this idea where I want to do a seminar or some classes to teach the community about the home buying process. Not a lot of them understand the buyer's agent don't get paid, just different things, And so I said, okay, let's see what we can do. And he's like, wait a second. It's like, do you think we can do it at my church? And he's like, let's just try. So he actually got talked to his wife, got her to talk to someone there because she worked at a church. And they had this first community, it's a Catholic church. And they said, well, we have a bunch of parents that come with their kids, and we like teaching them about different subjects that they need to learn. And I'm like, well, let's just try there. And we did. We put this flyer where we're going to have this, the church organized everything. And here I am thinking it's going to be 20 families. There's 2 different days. We said we were going to do a raffle, like where we give them some gift cards for different restaurants, some pamphlets of education, some bags with little goodies. Yeah.
Hey, you skipped all the stuff before real estate. You've got such a good story before real estate.
Well, with real estate is quality control. Well, actually, before that, right before real estate, it was with my kids. Like
talk about how you learned English and all that stuff.
Oh, that's going way back.
Let's do it.
Okay, so when I first got here, I was 17 years old from Mexico, and so everything that when I first got here, like I didn't speak the language, I didn't drive, I didn't know anything about really what it was to be here in the States. So my parents brought us here to Georgia. My dad had been in California for a long time, but eventually he made a decision to bring the whole family, and he did. And so I was here with a work permit and all that. But again, I didn't speak the language, I didn't drive, so everything was a little bit difficult. And so, especially here in Georgia, the transportation is not the best when it comes to like just public transportation. Either you have a car or you're paying a taxi to get wherever you need to be. And so an aunt of mine lives in Chicago, and she said, if you want to, I will help you get to where you need to be. Just come over here, and you need to continue for your school and do everything here. So I was like, sure. So I end up leaving Georgia to go to stay with my aunt. I stayed there for 4.5 years. I was in school full-time, playing soccer, working over 40 hours, just like my schedule was busy. But I would say that it helped me be where I needed to be, because like, especially to learn how to speak English, I was completely just surrounded by people that spoke English. So it was either learn how to speak or don't speak at all. And anybody that knows me, I love talking. So it was just, I wanted to do that. Like I needed to do that for me. And I just knew that in order for me to be in this country, I needed to learn to speak the language and to succeed. It was a must have. So I did that.
At 17, you came to America without the ability to speak English. And
no.
Look at you now.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, everybody's like, oh, you probably knew. I'm like, yeah, I knew how to count to 10. I knew how to say, how are you? And I didn't know how to really respond back if you asked a different question. So it's just like the basic English that I had at the time. But I remember that I used to get made fun of when I would speak English, and I was just like, okay, I don't care, you know, like I'm still making myself understood, and like for them to like make fun of me, it just means I'm getting somewhere, you know, like I'm not just stuck somewhere. So it was very uncomfortable at first to do all that. And I remember just different things that I encountered that I was like, you know what, I don't care. Like, you know, they see me now, but they'll see me later, and I'll be in a better place, you know? And even my family too.
That's the takeaway right there. Class dismissed.
Well, I mean, it's true. And every time I hear this, you have to learn to be uncomfortable to get like, you know, to a different, it is true. If you are comfortable with your means you're not growing. You're not like moving past certain things. Because if like, you know, like what they say, like definition of like wanting like different results is like for insanity. Like I'm paraphrasing what it is. It's true. Like, you know, anytime that you're not getting different results is because you're not doing anything different. And that's where it was for me. Like a lot of times people are like, oh, but you did it because you had this. I'm like, no, because I decided that it was okay for me to suffer in a way, you know, like be uncomfortable. I wasn't with my parents. I wasn't like, my aunt wasn't doing anything for me. Anything I wanted, it was for me to do it or I wasn't going to get it. And I wasn't expecting them to hand me out anything, you know, because I needed to earn this stuff and say I did it. And one of the things I know that pushed me as well is that my dad wasn't really supportive. He's always had the mentality that is like, girls are supposed to be in the kitchen and do this, like do that. Like we don't belong anywhere else. And so like I got to my head and I'm like, I'm going to prove him wrong, you know? And that's what it was. And I remember trying to get always his support and like just his approve, like for him to approve of me. And because I do have 4 brothers, I'm the only girl. And so I was like, eventually when I graduated high school, like again, I didn't speak the language. I graduated straight A's. I didn't have the highest thing because a lot of the things that I was seeing, I had to like start over. The only thing I got credit for was PE. So I had to start over with everything else. Yeah, because they're like, we don't know what you've learned. We don't know what we can translate. The only thing that you can do is like PE, and you still got to take one class of PE, which it was unique PE, which I thought it was, America was crazy because I was doing unique PE and I had juggling, riding a unicycle, stilts and all those things. So it was just, there's just different things that I would put on when I got here really early on that I learned, you know what, I'll just go throw whatever is you want at me, you know?
You ended up with straight A's after 4 years earlier not being able to speak the language?
Yeah. Well, and it wasn't 4 years earlier because I was already here when I was 17. So in Mexico, I only had 1 year of high school. And they said, no, sorry, you have to start over. So for high school, I end up not taking a lunch break, not having any kind of breaks in between periods or anything. And so I basically squeezed like 3 years of high school in like a year and a half. And like, I just did everything. Even teachers that knew me how I was like, they let me eat. We weren't really allowed to eat in class, but these teachers knew how I was and how serious I was with everything. I was the only one allowed. And the thing is, if you know me, I do eat and I eat a lot. And so I have like 2 trays, and every time I would come into the classroom, they're like, are you sharing that? This is just a lot. But yeah, like it just, I think for me, it was early on that I had set that in my mind, and that always helps that I had a goal, you know, that it was, I'm going to do this and that. And I had a vision. I didn't write it down, which I know for real estate, it is the best thing you can do is write down everything, what you want to accomplish, and start, think big, but act small, you know, so go little by little and just get there. And I think for me, even early on at that time, it was that I was like, okay, I need to get this in order for me to do this. I need to do this. And I did it without really, like I said, writing it down. I just got there, and I remember, how the heck did I do all that? You know, like, but I think it was that I had that mindset that I said, I am going to do it. You know, it was something in me that said, I'm going to do it. And that's how things get accomplished. If you get it in your head that you're going to do something and like you really, truly work daily on it, And yes, you're going to fall. Yes, there's going to be days where you like decide that it stinks and you don't want to continue. Like, as long as you get back and continue and think of your end goal, I think you can do it. It really is like how anyone can get to where they need to be if their mindset is there, you know.
I'm just going to go out on a limb. I suspect you've used those lessons in being a mother and in being a wife and building your real estate business, right?
I did. I want to say that at the beginning of this, with the career, I didn't know really what I wanted to do or how I was doing it, because I want to say the first 2.5, 3 years, I was still like a full-time mom, wife, you know, like home, everything. So I didn't have that vision that I'm like, this is full-time for us, for our family and everything. And then last year, something changed where my husband lost his job. And then I was like, wait a second, like, what are we doing? How are we going to do this? And of course, he started flipping houses and me doing this part of real estate that is full real estate. Like, this is my life, I breathe, do everything. And that's when I started like, what else can I do to lead gen? I've tried door knocking. It does feel uncomfortable at first, and it's worked, and I've done great connections, but it wasn't my thing. And I think it wasn't that, I don't want to say it wasn't my thing because I didn't fully try it. I mean, in order for you to like see if it works or something, you have to try it for a good while. I mean, some days are not the best days or whatnot. The same thing with cold calling. I did it with the 5 Doors team, you know, and at first I was really uncomfortable. I hated it. I almost wanted to cry to Amanda Jensen and say, you know, this is not for me. And then I started doing it. And you know what? After a while, I was like, my goal was like, how many people can say no to me? Like, that was like what I was counting. So I wasn't feeling bad about like every time I got hung up on or like people being upset. So
I love
that didn't work for me either. But I mean, I was good because I started like practicing and I was comfortable on the phone. But then when this whole thing with my husband changed, and I was like, what is it that I like doing? And that's where it came to like the seminars that I came to. I had always wanted to do that, where I'm educated doing, and especially like the Hispanic community, that they have no clue with the buying process, and more are buying, but they're not educated. I remember when I bought my first home, I remember just signing and a bunch of things there that I wish I would have known that I end up signing. So I started doing like.
Thank you for sharing all that. I'll let you resume the where you started with the seminars. Thank you.
With the seminar, yeah. So with that, with the whole seminar, I asked, and his name is Bernie Flores. He's with Homestar, and Homestar does cater a lot to the Hispanic community with DACA and all those different programs that the Dreamer programs and all that. So when I partner up with him and his wife working at the church, it helped facilitate that part of doing a seminar. And so again, like the first time that we did them, I was thinking it was going to be 20 families, maybe a little more or less, I don't know, but it was between 2 days. I'm thinking, okay, that's good. So when I get there the first day, there were, what was it, like 120 people. And then it was just like, okay, well, this is a little more people than I thought. It's okay. Like, I think if I was going to speak to 20, I can speak to 120. So, and again,
wait. How did you get 120 people in that building?
Well, because the way the church works, there is classes that educate like the parents of the kids that are getting their first communion. So they don't just want the kids that are taking classes to do their Holy Communion and do all that to learn. They also want the parents to educate themselves of different issues throughout the community or things. Just be educated. So we found that out, that they needed different volunteers to teach different classes, and we're like, hey, like, here we are, like, can we partner up and do that?
Right.
And so
and I would assume that's not rare. I would suggest that most churches and religious institutions, they have a culture of learning, right? They have a culture of not just providing spiritual services, but coaching to the whole person. So they talk about marital issues, financial issues, and wealth building issues, and these kind of things. So it's probably a perfect lead-in, right?
Yeah, it is. And like, we don't, like, until you start inquiring on that side, you don't realize how many places are actually very grateful for you to go and volunteer your time. And it doesn't take that long. And even if you don't get a connection right there and then, you get the information in some that might be like in the fence right now, they'll still ask for your information. I'll have a listing soon still from that like initial seminar that I made a great contact with this guy, you know, for like a big land lot that he's trying to sell. And so I feel like just coming from contribution, I know it sounds cliche or whatnot, but it is true. Like it just pays back, and it helps in with this this part of us, like teaching and helping and educating. You can see at first all the people are like, oh my God, we just got to be here because we were forced to be here, you know, kind of thing through the church. And then afterwards you can see them, they were really engaged, and a lot of them didn't know a lot of the things that we were asking or telling them, and they were asking additional questions to clarify. So it just felt good. And then like at first I was like thinking, you know how everybody says like maybe picture them naked, and then I went back, no, I'm a church, not picture them naked. Just like going back and forth to not feel like so like nervous about the whole thing. But after a while I was like, wait a second, no, like I'm just helping them. Like
Right.
I know what I'm talking about. I've been doing this for a little while. Like if you educate yourself, like, and you get comfortable with these things, again, they'll just try to present, but you've never done a presentation, because that's not going to help you.
So can I go a little granular then? Like, can you walk me through, like, did you give your presentation in Spanish? Did you give it in English?
We did both. But the first day we actually did it in Spanish.
Okay.
And so I've done both. I've not only partnered up with like a church, I've also done it's a program that works with different programs for down payment assistance and is money management. And so like I've reached out to this lady. I heard somebody was teaching a seminar. I was like, wait a second, I'll be interested in that. It's like, oh no, you got to sign up way ahead, because you have to follow these kind of like procedures, you know, in order for you to present, and you're not like trying to sell yourself, you're just educating. So I'm like, I'm okay with that. I want to be part of that. So it's just whatever they say. Like I know I have an advantage with they have like both languages, but it's whatever they need at the time. And so right before COVID was canceled, I had another one. And like I was posting on the office and say, hey, if you have any clients that are looking for down payment assistance, this is one of the programs that help them qualify. You know, they get a certificate. It's your client, you're protected, but I know I'm helping. You know, it just for me, yes, it's nice to get business, but overall, like just helping and knowing that I made a difference in helping somebody get to where they need to be. It's very rewarding.
Okay, so I want to keep going a little bit more granular. So can you walk me through like what that presentation looks like briefly? Like what concepts are you going over? Are you talking about pre-approval? Are you talking about looking for homes, negotiations? Like what is kind of that first initial presentation? And if you can also give me a little bit of detail on what role the lender plays.
So it just depends on the presentation that we're doing. So let's say I'm doing the presentation at the church, then I'm doing it combined with the lender. The lender is telling, hey, this is what you need to do. This is, in order for us to get you qualified, this is what you need to turn into us. And then you'll get with a realtor that you trust and agree like to work with and whatnot. And so we go over all this stuff, like saying, I'm working with you and you're working with me, but like we're a partner kind of like in this thing together with the lender, and whatever in this process questions or anything you have, like that's basically it. Like is that like
a 30-minute session? Or
it is for the church it was 30 minutes, because then we had like 15 minutes, which ended up being more like 25 minutes like Q&A. And the church was happy to like keep like the time to increase like for us to do.
Did you go into detail, like I help you search for homes, and then I help you negotiate, and I help you deal with any repair issues, and I help make sure everyone involved in the transaction behaves themselves? Like, did you walk them through all of that? Was it essentially like it was almost like a home buyer seminar, but in front of 120 people?
Yeah. And that was the first day. The second day we had 74 people. So I ended up getting, not everyone signed the paper and shared their emails and whatnot, but the majority did. And I don't have the paper, but like from the initial, which I love keeping that one because that was the one that I had the most people there. But yeah, like it was walking them through that. And when it was with the lender, it was more like hitting the surface of what the whole buying process is and what it is to be partner up and who have your back on this whole process. But the one for money management, which is the one for like the down payment assistant, getting the certificate and stuff, for me, that one is a whole hour. And I do basically the I'm buying a home presentation, Diana Kokoska's one that I got like from one of Bowles' classes, and like I've adjusted and made it my own because I don't have a team per se. I'm a solo, but I do say I have a team because it's Keller Williams, you know, all of the agents and everything in the office.
And then you're saying things like, okay, from if you're buying in this price range, it's a buyer's market, and this is what the number of months of supply are, and all that, right?
Yeah. And I'll and I don't know if like you share this with your team or whatnot, but on Monday I'll be doing buyer presentation.
Can you tell them what time that is?
I'm sorry?
What time is that on Monday?
That is, and I believe it's like 12 to 1. Well, I went to the 15th. No, actually it's 11 to 12.
11 to 12 on Monday. If you could send me the link, I'm sure is in the newsletter. I would encourage you guys to come watch Cinthya make that presentation. That way you'll get super granular. One thing I want to make sure I barely heard it, and I wanted to make sure everyone else heard it, is you said you keep the sign or the sign-up sheet of your first event because it shows that it was successful, right?
Right.
Why?
It's a reminder for me that like if that happened, it can happen again. I just need to keep working to do it like that. I have other ones, and yes, there is much, but I don't know. Like just the first one says it's kind of like I broke something and I need to continue that way. I don't know. I really don't know. Like it's a really good question, but I do keep that one. And I mean that sheet, all those names and everything, they're already in command. They're actually, I have the labels that it says that particular church, and like when I do the contacts and whatnot, and I have where every time I'm thinking of something, doing of something, or even like for the holidays, I know it's church, you know, so I know they believe in God and whatnot. I send a text, hey, remember I'm here, anything you need, doesn't have to be real estate related. I'm like, I can refer you where you need it be, kind of thing.
I love this idea of like you have like a tangible piece of evidence of success that proved that you conceptualized an idea, you planned it out, right? You had help, but planned it out, you executed on it, you clobbered it, and then you look at that to continue to give you confidence that this can happen again. So I think for all the people on the call and all the people listening to this, they've certainly have been successful at one thing at some point in their life. So let's really dig into like, how did you think around the time that you were being successful? What activities and habits did you have, right? How did you prepare for that? And maybe you don't think about it enough. And if you did think about it more, or you had an actual tangible visual representation of it, then it would cause your brain to be more confident all the time.
Right.
So I didn't want that to slip through the cracks. I appreciate that. Okay. Yeah. I'll mute myself. Keep going.
Okay. So with the buyer presentation or how we did it, one thing, and I will highlight this, is that have something that you're going to do a raffle. Like, who does not like to get free stuff? You know, yes, it was great to have information and a lot of people asked, but some of them are not like interested in hearing it at the moment, or maybe they just bought. And I've had it where like some of the people say, oh, we just bought last year. Oh, we just bought like 2 years ago, so we're good. And my contact was, which I made all the notes when I was like looking at like talking specifically to each person after the seminar, because we stay afterwards, is that, you know, I can say, hey, like, you know, the interest rates are low. Have you thought of maybe refinancing? Just know that there's always something that you can talk to that person. And that's what I was doing there at that specific seminar. So when we did the raffle, again, we had gift cards, we had like cups, like kind of like a Tervis, or no, I think it was like more I don't know, like it was just like cups that keep the drinks cold and whatnot. And
But there was a koozies. Like there was a giveaway. It wasn't.
yeah.
It wasn't an
And so,
incredible expense.
No, I want to say we spent maybe $100. We did 2 the first day and 2 the other. One of them, like the lady did not showed up. Eventually we continued to call and ask other ladies if they knew who they were, but we got it to do that. And the husband was the one that ended up showing up, that it was like, no, it was my wife. I just wrote her name because I didn't want to have my name. So, but anyway, so like just have that where they say, hey, like, please, if you're interested in this or just interested in being in the raffle, please write your name and your email. Like we might be able to do it either here or send it via email. So that way we can get 2 kind of like contacts, like the phone and the email kind of thing. So if they wanted, like they were truthful, they were writing their names. And then like the very next day or the next week, we made all the phone calls because there was a lot of people, and we end up finding out, like, for example, for me, when following up is like, where were they working? What time were they scheduled kind of thing. We try to call at the same time it was a seminar, but it turns out some of them had taken off so they can be there for that stuff. So, but yeah, it's just, it's not only doing the actual seminar, it was like the follow-up that has continued for me to pay off. And I could say, like, from last year, from that initial seminar, I closed 3 deals last year. It doesn't sound like a lot for how many people we had, but I mean, a lot of those people that were there, they didn't even think about buying at the time. Like a lot of the ones that I closed, they thought that was not for them because, again, the Hispanic community doesn't know, or not very educated on how they can buy or what it is that they need or how easy it is if you have good credit and all that. So, I mean, to me, it was a win, you know?
Think about this. What if you hosted an open house and a year later you had 3 closings from that one open house?
That's true.
You would think you would make like a billboard to remind yourself of that day of success.
Right. That's
so
true.
that just goes to show, like, you that's like the ultimate leverage, right? So rather than bringing, let's say 5 or 6 families from an open house in so that you can pitch the home and pitch yourself, you created a way where you brought 120 families in, which is freaking unheard of, right? And the reason why you got 3 deals is because you had a bunch of people, right? If 7 people were at that class, then you probably wouldn't have had any closings.
Right.
Statistically speaking.
Right. Yeah. And that is the thing. Like, I'll say this is my part where, like, I feel comfortable doing this and I prefer to do face-to-face. But like, everybody has their thing and they know what their thing is, even if they don't shout it or do it or whatever. I know some people that love talking in the grocery store and like just doing things, like maybe going to grocery stores. I've done it where I go to different stores, and if they allow me, I leave my card, and then I'll say with the person that's there, especially, like, again, I'll go with Hispanic. I know, like, that I'm much more comfortable speaking Spanish than I am speaking English, still to this day. So I'll go there and say, hey, like, if we partner up, if whoever buys and says they come from this store, this is where they got my card and everything, like, I am going to buy them their closing gift, like, where they can come buy groceries out of your store kind of thing, So I find different ways of, like, talking to people and getting my name out there, that it's helped me. Just regen in a way that I'm not spending a lot of money, but I'm still doing it. It's not like I'm, like, comfortable waiting for the stuff to come to me. Yes, I've had, like, repeat referral or, like, from my SOI, but that's just not the only thing that I'm doing. And
so how often do you do these seminars?
How often do I do them? I was going to start doing them every month this year, and everything went downhill for COVID. So I'm still waiting to hear from Money Management. I also partner up with someone in Title Max. They were going to do it every month. We were going to host some in the morning, and like, maybe at the beginning of the month, it will be in the morning, and at the end of the month, it was going to be towards the evening, so we can have, like, whoever works day or not, like, still be able to come. And we're going to do it like that, either every other month or a month. And so it got postponed. Again, we don't buy a whole lot. We do for sure we do the raffle something, and then we bring little goodies. If it was in the morning, we're gonna donate in coffees. In the afternoon, like maybe cookies and some soda or some other drinks and stuff. But I mean, just giving someone something for free and they're getting educated, you'll have some people. Not always is going to be a success, because we've had it where I only had 2 people, you know, after going from 120, you're like, dang it, this was a bust. And it wasn't, because this other person ended up like saying, oh no, I'm not buying, but I wanted to know because I'm eventually going to buy, but my cousin is going to buy. So can you talk to them? So just getting your word out there. It's really good.
Have you tried it electronically? Have you tried to do a Zoom one?
I have not. And I probably can coordinate that with the girl, Ana Escamilla from Title Max, but I have not. I have not. This Zoom thing, it just, like, I'll do it. It's just not my thing. I always have just my picture so nobody's looking at me.
Well, I appreciate your presentation is a lot more enjoyable by seeing you rather than your name.
Oh, okay.
Although your headshot is pretty nice.
Yeah, thank you. Well, your wife did a really, really good job with that. Thank you.
So tell me about what's a typical day look like for you? So
for me, well, right now it's not normal. Like, I am more busy than I've been this whole real estate, because so I have 11 clients I'm working with to get under contract. 5 of them are already like pre-approved. 6 are like in between that, like just trying to see when they buy. And I have 5 under contract.
Wow.
I have 1 listing that is like double side, and then I have the seller buying, and then because of that listing, I got like another condo. So that one just went live yesterday. So I'm very, very busy. I get up like where I'm meeting a client or doing something at 8 a.m. in Snellville or Lawrenceville or whatever, and sometimes I don't come home until like 9 p.m. So that's not normal. But my husband is here with the kids, and of course before school ended, like, he was just super tired with everything, but he's been my rock on this side, so it does help. But yeah, it's not normal. Normally it would be like getting up around, the kids were in school, I would get up at 6:45, kind of like have time for myself, then wake up the kids, get them out to the bus, and start my day. I would say I do a different kind of lead gen where I'm not like just cold calling. And I know most of my clients are working during the day. I don't get those calls where it's, I don't pay for any kind of service to cold call anyone. Like, I don't have that. If I do check a lot with my SOI, and I do that where I go to different stores and things like that, so I can get new names added. You know, I just, if it's, your database is not growing, like, you know, it's not always going to be paying to you, like back to you. So
say that one more time. We've been talking a lot about that in here, database growth.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I was told that if your database is not growing, like if you were to sell your database, if you're not, like, you're doing the touches and everything, how much would it be worth to someone? Like, if they know, like, the conversion, all this stuff, and it is true. Like, if you have the same people there and they already like moved, they already done everything, like, then it's not going to produce anything for you. But if you keep adding and you keep like doing those touches and whatnot, and you're getting the referrals, and people know that you're real estate. Believe me, people forget you're in real estate. I remember one day, like, my mom goes, I didn't even know, again, it was at the beginning. She's like, I didn't even know if you were still doing it, because I don't hear you talking about like selling homes. I'm like, I was like, Mom, it was very, very like upsetting that my mom thought I was not in real estate.
I'm going on 15 years and I've received 1 referral from my mother.
Oh, wow. No, my mom and my dad now like know better, and like he's doing that. But I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, this is what I'm doing. And you're saying, I'm like, if my mom doesn't know, like, who else doesn't know that is like close to my like sphere, you know? So yeah, you just got to remind it. I do a lot of like the Facebook posts and whatnot, but again, I do it kind of subtle, where like, what is it? The Peter's company, like, you know, like that part, they do kind of like
The
always
36
kind of
touch.
like reference and go around, but it's not always about real estate because people do get tired and they block you or unfollow you. Like they don't want to hear just about real estate. And I used to be where this girl used to post everything about real estate. And I thought it was great. And then at first I'm like, oh my God, here it goes again. And I'm like, man, that's probably going to happen to me if I continue doing that. So what I've been doing is just posting stories about like how this family came to do, like whenever there is a closing. But again, I'm not posting all the closings. It's just if there's a unique situation, you know, I'll do that because it does get like boring. And think of like, if you're on the other side, do you want to hear all this? Do you want to see like all the same thing over and over, closing or do it, or make it something funny, but like it can't be repetitive because it gets boring.
Right. And it can be about things other than an actual sales transaction. It could be,
right.
I just spoke at this money management clinic and, you know, I was able to help create a strategy so this family could get out of debt. And here 6 months later, they're out of debt.
Right. Right. Yeah. Cause that seminar, when I do that with money management is not just me, like it's an entire day. It's from 8 to 5 and it's not necessary for me to stay the whole time. But I do like staying the whole time because it just, I'm present. First of all, I'm learning because I think every time I've taken a little bit more that I can help my clients later educate. But it also shows the lady that's doing money management, Beatrice, the one that does that. I'm always like top of mind for her. Like I've helped her done a bunch of stuff. And like, I'm like, what do you need to set up? Like, don't worry about this. Let me help with that and whatnot. So I think it just helps. It really does help.
I'm going to ask one more question and then I'm going to open it up to everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
I can recall, and I will admit I was not the best accountant. You're like, are you nervous about what I'm about to say?
Yes, because I know where you're going.
I will admit that I was not the best accountability partner. But we did have a good solid week or so of being accountability partners.
2 weeks, yeah.
You know, a couple of years ago about running, right? Yeah. Talk to us about how, what does accountability mean for you now and how, and where do you have it in your life?
So I would say that, like I've been writing down more of, if I say, like I've been more and more reading or listening to the podcast because I have been doing a lot of driving and I stay like with the one thing podcast that just focus on one thing that whatever that is, that it will make everything else easier and necessary. I realized that I was trying to tackle too many things at once and try to change everything that was wrong that I thought in my life in order for me to make it better. And it was just too much. And that's what happened like with exercising and just different things. Yes, I know I need to exercise. Yes, I know like to be healthy or feel better and have more energy, but that wasn't the one thing for me. For me, it was like getting up earlier and start like doing more like for my day to be better. I've noticed that, yes, I haven't exercised, but I'm very active with everything that I'm doing. Yes, I still eat a lot. Yes, sometimes when I'm driving, it is junk food, but I feel like
this was not an interrogation about your exercise habits.
Yeah. No, but I'm saying, yes, it is. It's true. Like I do feel guilty not being able to exercise, and every day is in my mind. Oh, maybe today will be the day, and something else comes up. But that is not my thing right now. That is not my one thing that will get me where I need to be. What I've noticed that I have done is that I'm writing my list of what is it that I need to accomplish at least by the end of the day. If nothing else gets done, if I get these 2 things done that I do, I will feel better. Because a lot of times you say, oh, I'm going to do this, this, and that. And at the end of the day, you didn't get anything done. And then you feel like a failure for that day.
So
and that has not been, just crossing.
That's your form of accountability now.
Right. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So that's yeah. And it does make me feel better. And I get it. And my husband could tell that I felt better about that. But yes, I do need to exercise and I will call you.
You can. What time should we wake up tomorrow?
Oh God, please not tomorrow.
Okay, what time should we wake up Monday?
It's Saturday. Wait.
So one thing I noticed in the way you answered that question is that there's like this, you're constantly mulling over the awareness of what is the biggest rock for you, right? So there may have been a time in your life where exercise was the one thing that was going to take you to the next level. And today it's something different, right? and next week it might be something different again. So it's like this constant like evaluation of how things are going, and in the willingness to make adjustments, and also the willingness to, you know, stumble, and you know, not you know, getting into a funk because you went a day without exercising. It's the awareness to say exercising is not the top priority right now. So I'm going to nail the top priority. And if and every day I'll reevaluate, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Awesome. I want to give everyone else, obviously, if there's more you'd like to share, please do. But I want to give everyone an opportunity to ask any questions that they may have of you.
Okay.
Start.
Cinthia, I have a question.
Yes.
This is Donna Patrick.
Hi.
I am interested. Hi, how are you? I'm interested in how you do your seminar. Like, are you using a PowerPoint presentation? What kinds of materials do you have available to hand out? I
do have a buyer presentation. It's like I said, it was like Diana Kokoska's presentation that I got when I took Bold. And the way I got it is because I got the most referrals when I was doing like kind of SOI calling. And so on Monday, on Monday, I'll have this presentation and I'll share it with Audrey Bailey to share to everyone, like that needs to have it. You can customize it, do whatever you want. I end up translating mine as well because I have both. And right now with COVID, I've been doing a lot of like Zoom presentations and doing it through there. But yeah, the presentation is PowerPoint, is very easy, and it's 20 slides. You can cut it to whatever you think it's important, but I found out that this one reminds me of all the key points that I need to like set expectations when it comes to the buying. And every time I have not done this presentation with a new buyer, I end up like kicking myself, because over here it covers everything that had I done that when I like end up skipping, I'm working with one buyer like that I didn't do it because we just started super early, that I'm like, had I done this, I'm like, I would have been avoiding all these headaches. So yeah.
And are you giving them any kind of handouts, any kind of material that they can take?
Yeah, I do that. I do like the presentation, and it has blank spaces so they can write it down, and it kind of like helps them keep that as well. So
you're printing the slides.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you typically have the lender there and anyone else?
For the one at church, I do want to partner up with someone so they cover that part of it. And especially if somebody says, I'm ready right there and then we can go ahead and get them pre-approved. And I do like have it with the lender to say, like, you know, if you don't offer these kind of programs, I do have somebody else that will be able to help them. For example, if they don't do DACA, if they don't do tax ID, just loans or whatnot, we have that option. Or I have somebody else that I can refer them to.
Have you ever included anyone like a closing attorney or Kelly from 210 Home Warranty or an inspector, anyone like that?
Honestly, I have not, but that's a great idea. I always thought that maybe having an inspector, and I haven't thought of Kelly Lukenda, but yeah, like just having somebody else there that can help them educate of what it is that they need. Like it just helps, like whoever you want. And again, if you make it small, I've seen it where, again, the Peters Company, they say like they'll do it in a coffee shop. We'll buy coffee for you and have this, and just, or I'll be here at this place and helping you answer like that. It just helps. It's not going to be like a lot of people probably in a small coffee shop, but it just going out there and getting comfortable, it will help.
Okay, I already have one planned for the 25th of this month. I have an opportunity to present to both English and Spanish speaking potential home buyers. So I appreciate the information. Thank you.
Do you speak Spanish?
I do not, but I have someone who does, who's going to be the translator.
Okay. Yeah. I'm sure it's not going to be
being bold.
Yeah. Yeah. So with that, like I'll share both presentations. Again, it's Spanish, but it's like, I want to say like Mexican Spanish. because it's not like as proper as let's say Colombia, Venezuela, or all those places. But I will share this with Aubrey and whoever wants it. I'm like, okay, like, because I remember the first time, and I believe it was Bill that made that connection for Laura Herrera. At the time she was with the Curtin team, that
Right.
she presented this to us, and I think Jose Flores was there and some other people. I mean, my mind was blown just having this presentation and how easy it was, and I was like, no way I can do it, there's no way. And then now that I've like done it so many times and everything, it's just such an easy thing to do and to continue to do it, that once you've done it so many times, it's like nothing, you know. It's just getting comfortable and doing it. And I will say practice a lot.
And would you mind sharing your contact information so that I could reach out to you if I have any questions?
Yeah, no, not at all. Yeah, not at all. And again, I am in the agent leadership committee. I am part of the technology committee. I know we have Sam right now, which he's awesome and is helping us get to where we need to be. But hopefully when this dies down, we can all be in the office, and I'd love to meet you in person. But yes, I will definitely share the information. I'm sure Bill can do that as well.
Thank you.
I'll share her contact information in the group. Who else has some questions?
As a Spanish speaker, I would like to potentially get together with you at some point. I had told the group a few days ago that I wanted to learn Spanish real estate vocabulary. And I did send you a Facebook message when we kind of first started today, because I meant to do that a few days ago and didn't. But learning that vocabulary would be really helpful for me. I lived in Ecuador. I did interpretation work in Guatemala. I lived in Mexico City and studied literature there. I did interpretation courses between Spanish and French when I lived in France.
Okay.
So
that is awesome.
I really want to learn the vocabulary. I think that'll help my client base.
For me, like when I first started in real estate, like we all took the exam and all the terms and everything. And I was just like, oh my God, like, how am I going to learn this in Spanish? Because that's not part of the vocabulary that I had. So I went back and I started asking. I remember like my first way of like interpreting, because I was sending those letters of like, hey, I just started this new career in real estate, but I was translating in Spanish. I sent it to my cousin in Mexico City, and he goes, you sound very gringa. I was like, what? That's how he said. I was like, that's not nice for you to say. Like, he's like, no, it's just the way you're conjugating the verbs, the certain words you're using. You can tell that you use Google Translate. I'm like, I did it. She's like, well, it does sound like you did. But it's just practicing and like whatever like words that you want to get. Like, I can definitely like get you there. Or we would both learn. Again, I'm still.
Well, and something I noticed in the Keller platform under Ignite, they have training materials in French. So I'm going to be able to open the Ignite training materials in French and learn the French vocabulary just by reviewing those training materials. I haven't seen that for Spanish.
We actually have, I don't know if they're published somewhere, but we do have an agent, Michelle Rios. Do you know Michelle, Cinthya?
I don't think so.
Michelle is an ALC member out of the Chat North office. She's been a top producer there forever. Her and her husband are actually have some ownership of 2 Mexico City offices. And
I do know who she is because of Bold.
And they're pretty involved with those. And I've got to assume that basically everything has been translated into Spanish to run those offices and to teach those agents. So Heather, I can connect you with her, and she probably has some of those materials.
Because those are so comprehensive on the different things and all the contracts, and like all their handouts and everything on the platform are in French. And like looking at that and seeing that, I understand that we work with the people in Canada, and so they have that. But it was surprising to me to not see, like, if Ignite has French, why don't they have Spanish?
I think they might. I haven't seen it either. I remember at first that I wanted that as well, but I haven't seen it. I'm sure they do.
I know we have all the, I'm involved in KW Israel, and we translated everything into Hebrew.
Awesome.
Yeah. Okay. got a couple minutes left. Who else has a question? Okay. Well, Cinthya, I'm going to give you, first of all, again, thank you for your time. I know you are running a super busy business among your obligations outside of real estate. So thank you. And I also want to maybe just give you the floor for a final thought. You have many agents on the call that are relatively new to the business. And anytime we have a seasoned professional on the call, I just want you to share some advice or share maybe what do you wish you knew when you first started? What can you share with our folks?
I will say that I wish when I started, just like I would have like said, I'm just gonna do it. Like I'm just gonna get comfortable getting uncomfortable, you know, kind of thing, going out there and getting my name out there. The other thing is just getting into a routine. Whatever it is that you're gonna do, if it's Facebook, networking, whatever it is, like just start doing it early and add names to your downline, because not downline, database, and downline too. Of course, it always helps, like trying to get somebody to change your life with Keller Williams, but just adding those names and continue adding it. 'Cause for me, I can tell it's paid out from last year a lot, just having like those contacts and having more people that I added that I didn't know. Like it's great to like have the people that know your family members or whatever it is, but just adding those additional people that you didn't know, like those new mets, it does help grow your business exponentially. That there'd be times where you're gonna have to refer it out, but it's good. It's good when you're busy and then you can't handle business that you need to grow or get the assistant, whatever. I'm hoping my husband will be my assistant soon. So it's just add that, do that, get working, do something. Don't just say, but I just can't do it and you haven't tried it. Another thing is like, if you do it a couple times, that's not going to help you realize if it works or not. Like I know that in order for you to create a habit is 66 days. Some people might be sooner, but it just do something that even if you don't like, just continue to try it. And then again, if it doesn't work after a while, then that's fine, move on. But don't just say after 1 or 2 times that you've done it, that it doesn't work, because that's not how you'll be able to tell if it works.
Did everyone hear that? You got to do something a couple of times or much more than a couple of times to know if it's going to work or not, right?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
Thank you, Cinthya. I have posted your contact information in the group.
Thank you.
If anyone has somebody that might benefit from a seminar like Cinthya puts on, as she alluded to, she would be happy to protect your client relationship.
Yep.
And allow it to be a win-win for everybody. And if you are interested in being involved in the technology part of Keller Williams Market Center offerings, she's also the head of the technology committee for our office. And congratulations. Some of that story I heard for the first time, most of it I've heard before, but that is, I mean, what a journey. So congratulations. And
Thank you.
I'm proud to have been like a little sliver of possibly being involved in that somehow.
No, you are. You definitely have always pushed me and every time like I push back, you push a little further and I'm like, fine. But it does help me. And it's always been in just getting us like, I think you can do it. I think you can do it. And I think Bill has seen more in me than I originally did. And I like that. And I know that when I first met Bill, I was intimidated a lot. Well, I still am, but I'm just saying that it just how he is and how he conducts and he just tells you the raw truth. And it just like a lot of times you're not ready to hear it, but it's still in the back of your mind. Say, but he did say this. I think I could do it. Like, so thank you for that too.
Pleasure. Thanks for being a part of today. And you're welcome back anytime.
Thank you. Thank you. Good luck, guys.
Bye.
And
Thank
have
you,
a good day.
Cinthya.
Thank you.
Bye.